Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lydia Kyle and I am a homeschool mom who, just like every homeschool parent, is figuring out what is best for my family when it comes to educating my children at home. Today we're going to be talking about why I choose to homeschool my kids year-round rather than doing a conventional schedule that they would experience in a conventional school. I'm going to give you reasons why I feel like this is best for our family and why I chose this, but I'm also going to talk about all of the different options that you can do when you're homeschooling your children, because that's the beauty of homeschool. You have that freedom of choice. Let's get into it. If you've seen some of my homeschool videos before, you may have heard me refer to myself as a reluctant homeschooler. This is a term that I coined for myself to refer to my homeschool journey, because I was one of those people who did not want to homeschool my children. I was adamant that I would never homeschool my children. And it wasn't because I had a negative view of homeschool. I knew several families who were homeschooling their children, and not only were their children very capable, very competent children, I just felt like I was underprepared, underqualified, and unable to educate my own children. I was a special education teacher when I graduated from college, and I immediately left that profession because I had such a negative experience. So I thought that homeschool would equate to the experience that I had educating in a conventional school setting. I was completely wrong. I had to begin homeschooling out of necessity for one of my children. He was being underserved, even in a private school setting, and I felt like we were seeing him being left behind by that conventional classroom, and I knew that I needed to step up to the plate for the sake of my child, that he deserved a better education, and it was my duty to figure out how to provide that education. And I had to be brave and step up and do that for my child. I'm so glad that we made that decision, because not only is that child thriving in a homeschool setting, all of my children are progressing well above their educational level. And yes, we have bad days. Yes, we have bad days, we have good days. I talk about that a lot on this channel, how you overcome those moments where nobody likes school, how you overcome those moments where you feel like your scheduling is a mess. There's all kinds of ups and downs when it comes to homeschool, but that's just the fact of education in general. So when I refer to myself as a reluctant homeschooler, I'm referring to the fact that I didn't necessarily think that this was going to be the choice that I made for my family, but here I am. And I'm doing the best that I can with the resources that I can find. And I hope the resources that I provide for you help your family on your homeschool journey. So when it comes to choosing what type of schedule you're going to have for your homeschool, you can choose whatever you want. That's the beauty of homeschool. You can choose what works for your family. Whether you want to do a 4-day week or a 3-day week, whether you want to do homeschool 7 days a week, whether you want to homeschool for 5 months out of the year, 7 months out of the year, 12 months out of the year, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. I do really recommend, though, having a schedule and having a plan. You can adapt as necessary. If you decide at the beginning of the school year that you are going to do it this way, and you get a few months into it and you realize this is not working, you can change your mind. But I do really recommend being organized and having a plan. Every single week on Sunday, I sit down and I make a schedule for the week ahead. I have a video about that process. I will tag it at the end of this episode. So if you go to the end of this video, even if you just want to skip ahead, that will be available to you. I also have a playlist on my channel specifically for homeschool. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Not only do I love to have new subscribers, but that way, whenever I post homeschool content, you're going to see it first, and you can easily access that playlist that has those other videos so that you have those resources right at your fingertips. When it comes to homeschooling, you have the freedom of choice. You are allowed to choose the schedule that works best for your family. But like I said, I really, really recommend having a plan and having the ability to sit down and make a schedule, whether that's a year-long schedule or whether that's a week-to-week schedule like I choose to do. I have a video about the week-to-week schedule that I do every single week, and I walk you through how I go and I decide how much we're going to do on a day-to-day basis. That helps me keep our family organized. If you want to sit down and do a more comprehensive schedule, again, that's your prerogative. I decided to homeschool my kids all year long. That means that we typically start the school year in the summer, in June, and we go all year round before we move on to the next grade level per se. The reason why I decided to do that, the first reason may seem kind of funny, but we live in Texas and our summers are so hot that there is a block of time during the day it's unbearable to be outside. From the time of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., it is so hot that sometimes it can actually be dangerous to be outside in the sun. So I thought about that when I decided to homeschool my children, and I thought, we're going to be inside anyway. I'm going to be cooped up in the house with these 3 children who are a little bit wild sometimes. I can either homeschool, have a set schedule, have a plan, and have a regimen for each day, or we can just have total chaos. We can try to have a plan that's loose like Jell-O, and it's probably going to get a little bit frustrating, not only for me, but for them. That was the first reason why I thought, you know what, why don't we just homeschool through the summer? Because the weather in the summer is really not agreeable for us. Now, I know other people who live in other parts of the world where the summer is amazing, but the winter is terrible. And they choose to organize their homeschool based on weather patterns. So if you have a time of year where it's the best time of year to be outside and out and about, maybe you don't want to homeschool during that time and you want to be inside when it's freezing cold or pouring down rain, whatever the circumstances may be. Again, that's the beauty of homeschool. You get to choose. But for us, living in Texas, the summers are unbearably hot. We're going to be trapped inside for most of the day anyway. We might as well take advantage of that time and do a little bit of learning and have a schedule and have a little bit of order so we don't lose our minds and get cabin fever. The second reason why I decided to homeschool my kids year-round was because I felt that it made the pace of homeschool a lot easier for me as the parent and also them as the student. I'm homeschooling 3 children. I have a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, and a preschooler. And the way that I structure our homeschool is that I sit down individually with each of them one at a time to go through their work. That way I can give undivided attention to each child. However, if I try to cram too much into a day, it can get very overwhelming for them and for me, and we can experience some very serious burnouts. So the way that I chose to remedy that is by doing school year-round, we can take a slower pace. We might be doing less pages per day when it comes to a certain subject, but we're still moving at the right pace to get through the work that we need to get through to complete a year worth of material for each child. The third and final reason that I decided to homeschool my kids year-round was kind of related to pace, but it had to do with the breaks that we were going to take. We take holiday breaks. There's some times that we take a week off because our schedules are incredibly busy or we're traveling or we have family vacation. And I decided that if we did school year-round, that year-round pace helped with those sporadic breaks so that I can say, you know, hey, we're pretty burnt out when it comes to Christmas time. We can take 3 weeks off. It's not going to set us back. Or me and my husband are going to Spain in March. We're getting ready for that trip. We're going to be gone for 10 days. I don't want my kids to have to go to grandma's house and do school when they're at grandma's house when they could be having fun and doing other hands-on activities on their grandparents' farm. So because I have that year-long pace laid out, we're not in crunch time. We can take those sporadic breaks and not have it be a consequence later on when we get to the end of the year and we're not finished yet. It just makes it easier for me to be able to say, you know what, we have a sick day, it's okay, it's not gonna set us back. Oh, we're going on family vacation, not the end of the world, it's not gonna push back our curriculum time in catastrophic ways. The other thing is I choose to do a 4-day week. We have Tuesdays where we do no curriculum. We go to story time at the library. We typically do maybe some extracurricular or extra activities like playing board games or learning a new language. We have a Spanish bingo game that we love to play. We take it easy on Tuesdays. Again, that year-long pace allows for that flexibility so that I don't get burnt out and my children don't get burnt out at the same time. Those are the reasons why I chose to do a year-long homeschool schedule rather than a 9-month conventional schedule. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, and I want you to remember the beauty of homeschool is the freedom to choose. You can choose what is best for your family when it comes to homeschooling your children. Just remember to be consistent, have a schedule so that you can remain organized, and don't be afraid to adjust when you find something isn't working. If you guys need more resources for homeschooling, as promised, this is a video that I did about how I create my weekly schedule, but you can also check out the playlist that has all of my homeschooling resources and videos. You guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know what information was most helpful to you, and also let me know what current schedule you're using for your homeschoolers and what you like about that schedule or what you dislike about that schedule. I love to engage with you guys in the comments, and I will see you back next time for another video. Bye.